Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Weird Church. Nugwam Ingrid Brown. My name is Ingrid Brown, and I just want to offer you the warmest possible welcome that I can to this place, this space, this community of belonging, this place where we come together to wonder, to dream, to discuss, to pray, to play, to disagree about things, and learn how to stay in loving community. You are welcome, no matter your race, religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, whether you love church and can't get enough, and you belong to another community, but you just want to take in every other church's most delicious reflections, or you're not connected to any church and you're just testing out the water. There's no barrier, is what I'm trying to say, and you are a part of the Weird Church community, whether you join us in person, live online, or you watch part of our things that we offer online, recordings, Weird Church in your ears. You are part of the community as soon as you say you are, and so welcome. The daycare is in session downstairs, so if you hear some shrieking, do not be alarmed. They're having great pre-Christmas fun down there. But yes, welcome. I want to, in order to get us started, I want to invite us to just take a couple of deep breaths. I'm going to take my shoes off. You can't see that. Let's just take a couple of deep breaths together. I don't know where you are or what you are in the middle of, but I invite you to take another deep breath in and just let everything else go. Let yourself just pay attention and be still or moving for just a few minutes, still on the inside, even if our outsides are moving. And I want to invite you to pray with me. We come to you, Holy One, wisdom incarnate, spirit of life, bringer of joy, accompanier. In whatever season of life we find ourselves, we ask that you would meet us, ground us, build on our growing connection to hope and peace through bursts and slow builds of joy, that we might open to what is coming into being. We ask that you would encircle all that erodes our joy and just melt it away, so that we might be able to look at this day, this moment, with a new perspective. We gather now, maybe, with a posture of hope and peace and expectation, welcoming the joy that comes from that deeper, richer, and more satisfying place. So, right now, we pause and we breathe. We open ourselves to you, to that sacred mystery beyond definition that you are, and that you invite us into. Amen. So I've been talking all month about making room for love, this idea that there's a lot of external clutter in our lives in the world. We have advertisements and podcasts and radios, and there's just input all the time. And I think it seems like we have a lot of clutter inside too, right? A lot of expectation, a lot of fear, a lot of just clutter. So the idea this December is to slow down and make room for love. We're doing that using the weeks of Advent in the Christian tradition to guide us. So that's hope, peace, and this week, joy. And so I want to invite some questions, and like I have the last 2 weeks, if you go to weirdchurchcumberland.com/stuff, you will find quotes, little quotes on hope, quotes on peace, and this week I've uploaded some quotes on joy. We didn't get to all of them in the Sunday service, and so nobody knows what they all are. But I really would encourage you to like print them out if you have a printer, cut them up, add them to a little basket or bowl. Sometimes a quote is a good jumping off place for prayer and meditation, for a reset in the middle of your day, as a way to ease yourself into the evening or night, and just something fun. Especially if you live with more than one person, you could always do it at the dinner table. Or force your teenagers to, like I do. Okay, so let's talk about joy. The last couple of weeks, I've invited us to consider how we define hope and peace, which are hard to define things, right? So I'll give you a minute. How would you define joy? Just consider it for yourself. And again, each week, I've asked the question, is it a verb or a noun? Hope, is it a verb or a noun? I mean, the dictionary says noun, person, place, or thing. But I would like to explore what it means for these things to be verbs. What is the action of hope? We talked about Melissa when she shared about the caravan being this hope in action. And so I'm wondering, first of all, joy, noun, verb, what do you think? We know it's a noun, but also, interestingly, the verb of joy is rejoice. And so just pop that in the back of your mind for a moment. And I'll read you the Oxford English Dictionary definitions of joy. So there's 4. One has 2. So there's 3 definitions, 1 is 2. Anyway, okay, 1A. The emotion evoked by well-being, success, or good fortune by the prospect of possessing what one desires, delight. 1B, the expression or exhibition of such emotion, gaiety. Okay, definition 2, the state of happiness or felicity, bliss. 3, a source or cause of delight. And I love this idea of delight. Tina was sharing with me last week about when I was telling her about joy. She said that she had either read something or listened to a podcast where the invitation was to notice delight. And every time you notice it, just call it out. Delight. Like, I don't know what brings you delight, but to name it and name it out loud allows us to more fully experience our delight, but also, like, if a person causes you delight and you're like, delight, and then they go, me, I'm the cause of your delight, and it sort of spreads that delightfulness, that posture of delight, of seeking delight, of noticing delight in the world. Anyway, diversion into delight. It's always a good thing, I guess. But one of the questions I wondered with the community on Sunday was, what is the difference between happiness and joy? What is the difference between happiness and joy? And there were lots of really interesting answers, some of them contradictory, because we are a group of humans that experience the world differently. But this is what I shared. Happiness tends to be short-lived and circumstantial, whereas joy is a lingering feeling of contentment. Happiness short-lived and circumstantial, joy lingering and content. And connected to a sense of deep meaning and purpose. Now, for me, joy is what's the word I'm looking for? It's deeply connected to my spirituality. It's a deeply spiritual experience. It's a fruit of my spirituality, I'll say. It comes from my faith, my connection with God. And joy is something that I experience even on my bad days. In crappy circumstances, I can still feel joy. I can have joy because it's this idea of contentment. deep purpose. And so I spoke earlier about Melissa and the caravan being an example of hope in action. And last week we talked about peace in action. And one of the quotes we shared was from Desmond Tutu, who said, "If you want peace, don't talk to your friends, talk to your enemies." It's a verb. So if the verb, the action of joy, is rejoice, what causes you to rejoice? Feels like an old word, but one we sing a lot this time of year with all the Christmas tunes playing. What causes you to rejoice? It's a good question to consider, and I invite you to consider it. Or even bring it up with a friend or a family member. What causes you to rejoice? There is this beautiful reading that churches share in this time of year about a pregnant teenager in some backwoods town who goes to visit her much older cousin who is also pregnant. In the Sunday service, I shared a piece of art that I find particularly beautiful, and it's in the weirdchurchcumberland.com/stuff, STUFF, if you want to check it out. Anyway, Mary goes to visit her cousin, and the reading goes, when Elizabeth heard Mary's greeting, the baby leapt in her womb. The baby leapt in her womb. And this word leapt, the word is skirtau, and it's this word that means leapt, sure, but it means literally the physical expression of joy, like this blurt out. You know, when you make a sound that comes from a place, either when you're startled or when you experience something extra delicious and you just you just make sound. It's that same sort of idea of a blurt of joy, but a physical manifestation of joy. And I get this because my joy blurts. It blurts when I dance. It blurts when I mostly dance, actually. People jump for joy. Like sometimes it's like this sensation that we can't contain in our body's stillness. And so we have to, that's what we're talking about. And as a human who has carried babies in my womb, baby, one at a time, twice, I am quite sure that I have felt this kind of blurt inside that Elizabeth is talking about. And as you may know, if you know me, everything blurts out of me, words or movements. So when either of my babies, when they were in my body, did these leaps, it would often cause me to express out loud with an exclamation of sorts. And so the story continues, right? So we've got Elizabeth heard Mary's greeting, the baby leapt in her womb. And Elizabeth exclaimed with a loud cry. And what we usually get in translation is, this is what she said, "Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb." Not what I would typically exclaim. So, of course, I had to go back to the Greek. And it reads, Elizabeth cried out in a loud voice, "Woman, I bless you, you and that baby." That sounds more like a flirt, right? It tracks. Then Mary goes on to share what we call the Magnificat, which is actually this call to revolution. I would suggest that Jesus learned his ways at Mary's feet as a child. So Mary says, God brings down rulers from their thrones and lifts up the humble. God has filled the hungry with good things and sends the rich away empty. Yes. And anyway, she says, my spirit rejoices in God. Or rather, actually, the word is in the midst of God. So in the midst of God, her spirit rejoices. And the word rejoices is this Greek word agaleo, which is like joy, but over the top. And it's the same word as that leaping for joy baby, but it has this magnifier added on. And so If we look outside of biblical context for the same word around the same time in sort of the ancient Near East under Roman occupation, we see that it conveys an exuberance expressed physically, emotionally, and with a profound spirituality. And it is most often seen and used in situations that would typically not warrant joy. So similar to hope, which we talked about that first week of December, it has this connotation of the collective and is used, just like hope, just like peace, at times of persecution, of challenge, of difficulty and strife. This deep-seated emotional, physical, spiritual joy. Now, if you know the story, Mary is not in an ideal situation here. She is poor, she is young, and Joseph is thinking he may not want to hang in there. She goes to meet her cousin, who likely thought she was experiencing perimenopause and not pregnancy because of her age. So you've got this old poor woman with a husband who's having a mental health breakdown, and this poor young woman who's not sure if her husband's going to leave. These women are not in ideal circumstances. Don't forget, they are living under Roman occupation as a persecuted minority. And yet, here they both are, with this over-the-top, magnified, make you jump or blurt out words, joy. Joy that is not based on circumstance, just joy. One of my favorite writers, Barbara Brown Taylor, says, "It is in the wilderness, in that empty-handed, I give up surrender, that joy is most likely to occur." I wonder if Mary's joy came from a surrender to what is. I wonder if our own joy can come from a letting go, even if that letting go is just a little bit, just making a little more space, a little more room for love, a little more room for the divine to move within us. I wonder. Would you pray with me? Oh God, we give you thanks for all the ways you help us to make room for hope, hope that builds into a sense and a desire, a yearning for peace, which gives way to the opportunity for joy. We thank you that you give us hearts that can delight, that can grieve and feel content at the same time. We ask that as we move through this week, your hope, your peace, and your joy would be with us in all of our movements, in all of our steps, in all of our wanderings and all of our trippings and all of our getting back up. Help us to experience delight in the world this week. Show us how. Amen. And so that is the invitation, beloved community, is to get a little still once, maybe twice. Take a moment to connect with the love that is deep within and all around. Ask for joy to be revealed. And then when you're out in the world, doing life, notice where your joy spikes and where it wanes. Notice where you have delight. Maybe even call it out. Delight! And maybe lean in the direction of joy, lean in the direction of delight. Pay attention to what is causing you to rejoice. And as you do so, know that you are not alone. You are part of a community that is seeking joy, that is deepening love together. Know that you are surrounded by a love that is so big, so bold, so rich, so deep, so expansive, it is almost unbelievable. And there you are, in the middle of it. Not because of anything you have done or not done, not because of anything you have said or not said, but simply because you are. And so I dare you to take that love out into the world that is so desperate for it, with an extra blurt of delight wherever possible. Amen.